Hi guys, so this is a video for those who have moved from Windows to Mac. This version of macOS is macOS Tahoe, the latest version, which was released 3 or 4 days ago actually. And what I recommend is not compare Mac to Windows. Have a tinker around with the software, to your liking, and just sort of get a feel for how it all works. Um, I've been a Mac user for 13 years now, and I wouldn't go back to Windows personally. That's just my preference because using a Mac, once you know all the shortcuts, all the intricacies, all of the different things in Mac OS, you won't go back. You know, I would say that Mac OS does get viruses in malware, but very, very rare occasions because you install your applications from reputable developers on the App Store or online itself. So, plus there's a built-in firewall, and it will detect bad stuff, basically. So, the first thing I would do when you start a new macOS, if you begin macOS, is go into the settings, scroll down to where it says trackpad. Now, if you've got a mouse, the same principle is involved. You'll know that the tracker speed is really slow to begin with. So all you got to do is just slide this across. I've got it on really fast, so it's dead responsive, as you can see. Um, you can do the same for the mouse. A lot of these gestures I got turned off because I don't really use them that much, to be honest. Um, as for scrolling, you might wonder why Mac users scroll down to go up and vice versa. Well, think of the iPad. How do you scroll? You scroll going down to go down and up to go up, or vice versa. So it has more or less the same scrolling feature as the iPad or the iPhone as well. So I'll just go through all these gestures and tick or untick the ones that you don't use, or you think you will be using in the future. Because a lot of the time you will accidentally trigger them while using the software. So just be careful with what you're selecting or not on here. Anyway, so the Finder, let's go with the Finder. So the Finder is more or less the same as File Explorer in Windows. You can change the icon sizes. There's icon view, list view. There's a directory view. There's also an image view. I would always keep it on the list view because it's the same on the iPhone, more or less. If you've got an iPhone, so you'll sort of compare that to that. iCloud Drive. You've got to, if you want that, you've got to sign into Apple. I've got iCloud on by default because I've got an iPhone and iPad. So once you've got that all set up, you can actually drag and drop or copy and paste folders, images, videos, PDFs, etc. on here. It will store it for you. There are plans available, so if you need more space, you can always go into there and select what you need. If you own an iPhone or iPad, you'll be familiar with settings. So on the menu bar here, we've got settings. So this provides a wealth of customization and different options. From Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, network, battery, storage, date and time, languages and region, appearance, you can change the appearance of the window, from light to dark. If you're starting out on macOS from Windows, I recommend tinkering with all these different settings because it is worth your time, especially if you've got a brand new Mac. You can hide the dock, change the display brightness, the resolution, wallpapers, the list goes on and on and on. So if you want to drag and drop folders, let's say you want to drag the notes folder into the sidebar, you can do that by doing that. If you want to remove it, hit remove. The same goes for the menu bar, sorry, the dock, sorry. You can simply just drag and drop things into the dock, and vice versa, just do that, and it's gone. So one of the most requested things to cover is when you switch from Windows to Mac, is that the Windows don't have their own menus. Well, they do. If we go to, say, settings, you can see that, you know, if you let's open Spotify, you see how it changes. So some apps you can close and they're gone, but the only way to close down apps for good and get rid of these dots on the dock is by pressing quit or command Q. For me, when I first started using Mac, that was a bit of a learning curve because I saw a bunch of dots in my dock and I didn't know why. So there you go. So if at any point an app gets a bit buggy and crashes, and it will happen at some point, go to the Apple menu and select Force Quit. Now, for example, if Safari is playing up, it will display not responding. Simply select Force Quit and Force Quit again, and the app will close down. The control center is very useful for several reasons. The first reason is to avoid using the actual settings itself. So if we go to the top right hand corner, we can see we've got the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, AirDrop, dark mode, focus modes, the music player, Stage Manager, which allows you to manage your windows more efficiently, display settings and sound. And this is screen mirroring, so you can screen mirror to your iPad if you want to. So yeah, I would recommend tinkering with this because you can also go into the edit controls and add more controls. There's a wealth of options here. I've just put the default settings on here, but some are useful depending on how you use your Mac. So that is Control Center. So that is just a brief overview of macOS. If you are moving from Windows to Mac, I would consider going through everything, have a tinker around, have a look around, because macOS is more customizable than ever before. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.